Hello, and welcome back to the Coop De Villa channel. I'm Scott Cooper. Merry Christmas to you all out there, all you villains. And we are back after the World Cup break. Emi Martinez is still celebrating somewhere with a doll of Mbappe, but we're back. We're concentrating on the Premier League. It was back on Boxing Day, Aston Villa versus Liverpool, and that is all coming back after this. Okay, so we were back at Villa Park on Boxing Day after the World Cup break, and Unai Emery's sort of the start phase two. And it was Liverpool, it was a big test, and unfortunately, Noah, it wasn't our day. It wasn't our day for many reasons. What an interesting game it was. It wasn't boring, that's for sure. Plenty of chances at both ends, but unfortunately for Villa, we just couldn't put ours away.
No,
Really?
exactly that. But also good to be back, Scott.
Oh,
Unfortunately, the fans and everyone that watches, we couldn't get as much World Cup content done as possible. But obviously, very busy time of year for me, working in hospitality, so very hard to get some time off. But yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah, it's definitely great to be back, and it's good to have the Villa back.
More importantly, isn't it?
Definitely. After the World Cup, which was fantastic, there was a lot of good games. It was a good watch. Australia did very well. Unfortunately, going out to Argentina, the winners. But from a Villa point of view, it was great to see Emmy win the cup and everything that came along with that. All these shithousery, all the mind games and the celebrations and the taunting, and
I love it.
It is good. It is good. It's fantastic to see a Villa player finally win a World Cup. He's fully deserved it. I think he had a great tournament, winning the Golden Glove and all that. But I wanted to ask you about some of his antics and how you felt about them. Just before we get into the Liverpool game, and how do you think that'll kind of play its way out when he gets back to Villa?
I don't know, to be honest, right? Because I understand what people are thinking. It's a little bit, selfish, a little bit, because Mbappe technically scored 4 past him, for example.
He did
in the final,
yeah,
including the penalty. But he's having a good time. He just won the
yeah.
World Cup. I don't think there's any. We don't know. Mbappe might have, spoken a bit of crap to him, to Argentina before the final. We don't know what's gone on to cause that. But it's just Emmy being Emmy, innit? Like he's just always done this random sort of stuff with penalty shootouts.
Yeah.
But he's one of those players that when he's on your team, you love him, but you hate to play him.
Exactly.
There's so many players who've had that over our time. For example, Wayne Rooney, he used to always score against the Villa, always just score against him. He used to hate playing him. But just, everyone's got to have one of those players, a bit of grit and a bit of just funny side.
That's it. I mean, he has won a World Cup, and he's done something very special. He's and he's always been like this. Like you said, like he's always likes to stir the opposition up, especially on the penalties, especially with mind games before the taker comes up and that sort of thing. So he's done it for Argentina before in the Copa America, got them to the final, beat Colombia in the semi-final doing this sort of thing. And then I wasn't surprised he did it. There is a slight worry that when he comes back to Villa, he's not going to be playing with a world champion team. So he might be a target for some players to think they can wind him up or something like that. And I don't know, maybe, he might find the transition to trying to do that thing at Villa a bit harder.
But he's done it at Villa with the Fernandes penalty. He does it. I don't think he cares. If someone goes to me, oh, you're not playing for Argentina. Yeah, but he won the World Cup.
Yeah.
Where did you come in the World Cup? That's what I was going to say to him. Like he won he's a world champion, and fair play to him.
Well, that's right. That's right. So I don't know when he'll be back, when he stops partying, but I'm guessing
he's due back today, I think.
Okay.
I think they said he was due back Wednesday,
right,
in England, and then he'll be back for the Tottenham game, which is fantastic. Kind of a segue onto the Liverpool game, but I didn't feel very confident with one bloke in between the sticks.
No, that's it. I mean, Olsen, he hasn't really, started his Villa career, in bright lights. He's made a few mistakes in the games he has played. He doesn't look as good, with his with the ball at his feet as Emi Martinez. He's a bit nervous coming off his line. And yeah, I think a few of us villains were a little bit worried going into this game about Olsen, but I didn't think he had the worst game. He obviously isn't as good, and it was a downgrade, and he could have maybe done better on some of the goals, but I don't think they were his fault per se. And yeah, I mean, we went into the game, and it was a really open game, which I was surprised with. That was the first thing that shook me a bit, is that how high line we were playing, how sort of it was a very sort of flamboyant kind of midfield. We didn't have a lot of sort of maybe hard workers in there, like a lot of energy without Jacob Ramsey. I thought, it was a different kind of interesting midfield. And yeah, we ended up, giving them a little bit more time and respect that I was hoping for. And with the high line, they picked us off early.
I mean, that first goal, what a pass from Alexander-Arnold, by the way. That was sensational. And you got to sometimes just sit there and just respect good play. I mean, that first goal was such a well-worked goal. I think Robertson now has the most Premier League assists for a fullback, overtaking Leighton Baines. So Liverpool's fullbacks are sensational, and they were always going to do that. I think we respected them a little bit too much and let them do what they wanted to do, a bit more running and more attacking-wise. But as you said, it was kind of like a basketball game out there at some stages. Like we had passes to play, we were dominating the game, and then they would hit us on the counter-attack. And that's so weird to see that Liverpool were hitting us on the counter-attack at Villa Park. Normally it should be the other way around, like you expect it to be.
Yeah.
But you can't blame Olsen for all the goals, like you said.
No.
I actually think he made a couple of decent saves. Like that one off the Nunez volley, that was a good save. But I don't think he commands his box well enough. No. I don't think the back four are as confident playing in front of him. It's all, it's just a domino effect. And I've got a couple of mates, Liverpool fans, saying, "Oh, it's going to be a tough game." I said, "Yeah, but you'll win." Like I didn't expect to win the game having Olsen between the sticks, which is always a worry because obviously you want your backup keeper to be able to do a job. I think it's a Stefan that's at Man City. The back, I think he's at Middlesbrough at the moment. He's a decent keeper. I'd rather him over Olsen, but I just didn't back us in to win. But I'll tell you what, the chances we had, we could have scored 7. So you can't blame everything on the keeper and the back line. Obviously, certain things you can. But geez, if we'd scored, we could have scored more goals than Liverpool's. Like simple as that.
Well, that's it. We that was the sort of the risk and reward of playing like we did. It meant that we got at Liverpool, and we've seen this season that teams that try and put them under pressure and go at them a bit do get chances, because in the middle of midfield they're not quite as secure as they once were, and at the back they've always been suspectable with like sort of Alexander-Arnold. He can be a bit loose at the back at times, and they go forward so much, the fullbacks, that they do leave gaps. So yeah, I mean, we created chances, but we didn't have that killer instinct to take them. Ollie Watkins had a couple early great chances. One in the first minute that was a very good chance, and then the header that came in the first half a bit later on, that was an absolute golden chance. Any centre forward with any kind of self-respect should be making the keeper seriously work there, and it was a tame header with no real conviction at all, and it just sort of set the tone for what would be a frustrating night in front of goal.
I mean, certainly, but what's something I find weird about Ollie Watkins is he will score the hardest chance he gets. That goal he scored wasn't an easy finish at no means, but you look at the ones he missed, look at the one Leon Bailey, before the World Cup, Leon Bailey would have twatted that top bins, both of his chances he had. Yeah. It wasn't just Ollie Watkins, we just had chances left, right, and centre.
I know John McGinn had a header that was
why is he not
golden chance
through it?
Oh,
John McGinn did that against Forest as well. He goes for his header. I don't know why.
I think it was because it was coming onto his right foot, maybe. But even to go with the header, just power it. It was a soft sort of effort into the ground. It was. It didn't look like he was ever going to score.
But something I will touch on, Scotty,
Yeah.
is it's so clear to see now playing a game what Villa want to do in a game. We have a plan going into games. And the goal we scored, first of all, what a ball from Douglas Luiz, which that's his 10th Villa assist. So I believe I saw a stat. Obviously, got to bring the stats back. Not yet, but
it's a new year.
He's tied on assists with your mate Charlton Zogbia and Ollie Watkins as well with 10 assists. So,
right.
I mean, he's going upwards, but that was a world-class delivery from Douglas Luiz, and Watkins couldn't miss that one.
No.
Surely. Straight back across the keeper. You got to put it back where it comes from. But
like you said, that was probably his most difficult chance out of the 4 golden, good chances he had.
Yeah.
And he puts that one right in the corner. Alisson doesn't even move because he's got no chance of getting there. Whereas the 3 earlier ones, the one where he was through and he did the volley, Alisson saved. There was and then there was the header, and
the 2 Bailey ones come to mind. That's the first Bailey one where I think Watkins might have dummied it, and Bailey's had to hit it on his left foot. I thought this is a goal. And then Bailey fresh airs it. I haven't seen that from Bailey for a long time. I thought he was actually quite good though, Leon Bailey. I thought he's going to be a good player for us. But
I thought he had a reasonable game. Probably it was a weird game in sort of trying to mark these players because they did so much good going forward, but defensively and in transition, we were kind of all over the shop in the midfield and the defense at times that it really looked like we were sort of all over the place and a bit ragged. Like the commentators were going from saying Liverpool are dominating this game to, oh no, it's quite even now. There's Villa are having a few chances, but that was only coming from the fact that we looked so like we were going to give up goals every time Liverpool attacked, which wasn't that often, in that first period. Like we actually probably had more of the chances, but they had the better chances and they were more clinical.
I mean, that Van Dijk goal, if it doesn't take the deflection off Konsa, I don't think it's going in. I think Tyro Mings blocks it or Olsen saves it. It wasn't the best goal.
I think it comes off Konsa and maybe Mings as well.
Yeah, because it deflects off Konsa and deflects it off Mings. But I honestly, another day that goes somewhere else. And Liverpool,
the real problem with that one was why is Emi Buendia marking Virgil van Dijk?
Yeah, I think it's the zonal marking, isn't it? But that's football.
I would never get that.
I had a good game. I think Buendia was pretty poor. I think the one thing that surprised me was, I think it was the 60th minute mark. The commentator's like, Emery's about to make his first change. I thought, you beauty, we need change. Buendia's got to get off, get Coutinho on, all good. But he never made that change until the 84th minute when the game's done.
It's because Ollie scored.
I still think Buendia had to come off.
I agree. But I think when Ollie scored, he felt, look, I'm going to give it another 5-10. Maybe we're playing well at the moment. We were
playing well. The team was playing well, but it just needed a spark. And I think Coutinho for 20, 25 minutes could have provided that spark. And it could have been something he needed to play against Liverpool, show us something a little bit more.
No, I agree. I totally agree. And I also think that he probably got it wrong at the start of the game in terms of that midfield. We went for this compact sort of for the, where McGinn and Buendia were sort of in charge of, looking after the fullbacks.
Yeah.
And I think McGinn did a reasonable job on Robinson at times. Other times, not so good. But Buendia gave Alexander-Arnold, certainly in that first half, way too much time. Way too much respect. Didn't give him any problems in sort of going beyond him and making him think about defending, which I think you've got to do with Alexander-Arnold. You've got to make sure that he's worried, about sort of going into midfields and leaving gaps in behind. And I think we got that wrong. If you'd had a more mobile player in that position, a more defensive minded player, maybe we could have blocked that up a bit. But, Emery decided to go for it. I think that's what because if anyone knows Emery from his time at his previous clubs, he's quite defensive manager. That's what he's known for. He's being solid at the back, compact, and then he kind of tweaks it from there. But this time he went sort of toe to toe in many ways with Liverpool, and it had some positive effects. Look at the chances we made. Look at some of the performances we had that were good and full of creativity. But it also has a negative in that we shipped a lot of chances.
Oh, 100%. But I just love that we have a plan now.
Mm.
Like when we were under Gerrard, I didn't know what we were trying to do.
Mm.
But the thing is, you could see what he wants to do in the game, and there is so many positives take from the game. You're playing against probably going to finish top 4 Liverpool side, and to be fair, we ran them pretty close until that third goal, and then we were pretty close. We weren't too far off from taking something from the game. Obviously, the third goal killed it off. That was always going to happen.
Yeah,
I kind of thought the way we were attacking, they're going to get a third goal to kill it off.
Yeah.
But I think we could take it to Tottenham. I really think a New Year's Day game is going to be a ripper game against Tottenham. I think we could really take it to them. They're under pressure as well. They don't like Conte. Geez, we could be the final nail in the coffin there and make them sack Conte. That'd be unreal if we did that.
It would be, yeah. And I mean, look, they're slow starters, and we are, I think, a team that are slow starters too in many ways. And if we can get a good start, I think we put ourselves in the best position to win the game. In games that we've won and we've played well and we've dominated, like say Manchester United, Brighton, good starts. Being on the front foot, taking our chances, Ollie, perhaps getting an early goal, this sort of thing. If we can get that kind of like finish the game or start the game like we finished the game against Liverpool, that would be great. Because I thought in that second half against Liverpool, we were much better than the first half, where we were defensively naive. I can't fault the sort of effort and the
exactly that. The same with me, Scott. The effort was there, and the way Emery speaks after the game, he's such a good speaker, isn't he? He's like, yeah, I'm disappointed. These things happen, but he's always like, but we did this. Like, he's always saying we did this well, and he's always looking to improve. And I think once you get the commanding figure like Martinez back between the sticks, the back line, get Matty Cash back in, I think he probably was just rested. I think Ashley Young did a decent job, though. I don't have any faults against how Ashley Young played.
I think Luca Digne had some dicey moments in terms of when to go forward and when to stay back. He does worry me at times with his sort of defensive frame of mind and how he can, bomb forward without, too much worries about what's going on behind him. But, he's a good player. He's good on the ball. He makes things happen for us in the attacking half. And it's one of those things you just got. If he could have 2 solid sort of centre backs next to him, I think we would be a far better team. And Mings, I think, it was a bit disappointing at times. I think especially the third goal, the way he kind of lets the ball go through his legs.
He did, to be fair, he did try turn his body to try block.
I know, but I don't like. He should have just stood up. Like when you turn your body like that, you've almost sort of given up. You can't move from that position. You've gone into this position where you think you're covering more of the goal, but really being on your toes and being able to adjust, allows you probably to cover more of the goal. It's a nitpick. But yeah, I think, I think he just needs to be a little bit better in those sort of situations. And actually, I thought Concert did okay, even though. This high line was killing us with the balls over the top in that first half. I think he was probably the best of the back four defensively. And Kamara, I thought had a reasonable game, pretty good.
I can't believe we went for free, Scott.
Yeah,
I can't. His ball movement is second to none, and he cost us 0. So thanks, Stevie G, for that one. I'm not sure how the hell he got that one done, but thank you very much.
Look, and I think he'll just get better and better. I think his energy at times, he looks very lethargical. And with him and Douglas Luiz, I'm not sure that's the best pairing. I know that, you know, ideally maybe we'd have a 3 in there with someone with a bit more energy with those two, like a Ramsey, Kamara, Luiz middle 3 would, feels a lot more balanced.
I think Ramsey's out for another 3 weeks over the hamstring injury. So
yeah, I think we really missed him.
I think Samsung could be the one at the moment to come to do that job if Emery picks him. I don't think he was on the bench. I don't think he was on the bench on the weekend. I don't remember seeing his name.
I don't remember, but no, I don't remember seeing him either.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he does like his 4-4-2 on paper. It's not quite a 4-4-2 when you see it on the field, but yeah, he does like that 4-4-2. So I mean, I'm guessing he's going to stick with that, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how we go against Tottenham. I think we're still learning the formation.
Oh, definitely.
And yeah, I
think we're improving, and it's so cool to see. Like, compare that to the Nottingham Forest game. We dominated Forest in that game under Jarrah. We had like 30 shots, whatever it was. But I felt we looked more like scoring against Liverpool last night or 2 nights ago, whatever it was, compared to Nottingham Forest in that 1-1 draw. It's night and day, like the way we're playing at the moment, and results will come. Yeah, and I think January is only 3 days away now, Scott, and Emery's going to want to get some players in, and he will get players in. And just wait till he gets the team he wants. I'm really excited for the future of Villa. I really am. And even what's that young guy he's getting in? The Caden Brown, is it that the young guy? The 16-year-old that's played in all the preseason or mid-season games.
Yeah.
Rates him highly. He's 16 years of age and he's trusting him.
That's good to know, and that's good. I think this period of the World Cup will help us, going forward, and we'll see the work that's been done in that period in the coming games. I think, maybe, Liverpool, one of the top teams in Europe, had a bit too much for us going forward. And, when we go toe to toe with a team like that can happen. But I think, at being at home and, saying, all right, we're going to have a go at them. I think, that takes a lot of balls and a lot of, that's a brave approach. And that's what Villa Park wants to see, attacking football. Me personally would prefer if it was a bit more solid at the back, and perhaps we didn't have that high line that seems to be like, Russian roulette against a team like Liverpool with so much pace and so much quality. But, it is what it is. I would rather that than Steve Bruce football where we put 11 men behind the ball. So, it's, you can't have it all, and you've got to understand that to give a little bit in one, you take away from the other. And, and the fact that they scored within 5 minutes also meant that we had to attack, and it became a very different game. So, you got to take all that into account. I think overall, like I said, there are positives we can take from this game. And I enjoyed the performances of Kamara, Bailey. There were 1 or 2 players that did really well. Ollie Watkins, you can't fault anything he does in terms of
puts himself in right positions, and he always finds the ball there. I know he has that finishing coach. I'm not sure where he's gone. But he needs to get him back clearly. But just imagine he scored all those chances. Just imagine. We're winning. I know it's a high-scoring game. We conceded 3 goals. We could have won that game 6-3.
Yeah,
easily could have won it 6-3.
We would have been the team 1-0 up in the first minute because we had the early chance. Then he had the other one. Yeah, it would have been great, but unfortunately, we know that's what you're going to get with Ollie Watkins. He's not a natural number 9, in my opinion. He's a winger, a wide player who can score some goals, and I think that's probably his best position. But he does give so much to us leading that line in terms of defensive
his pressure
work rate.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and
his pressure is unbelievable. But yeah, I mean that's football.
I mean, it'd be interesting to see what Emery does if he rates Ollie, long term, or if he wants to get a replacement in more of a sort of clinical finisher. And who he will go for. There's a lot of talk of the guys at Villarreal,
like Dan Juma.
Dan Juma and Chukwueze,
Dan
but they're
Juma's
more wingers.
But Dan Juma is an Ollie Watkins.
Yeah,
he's a winger that's playing in up front in his 4-4-2.
Yeah,
but it's clear that Emery rates him because he played in the United game. Watkins did. Was sick for the Brighton game. Danny Ings scores 2 goals.
Yeah,
and then Watkins straight back in. So it's clearly Emery rates Watkins like in training and his work rate. And I think at one stage it has to click because it's he scored 16 goals in the first season in the Prem.
He did, but he had
10 goals last season.
He did have one Jack Grealish sort of slipping them in that time, and
but you still have to finish. You're telling me that like Buendia and all these boys putting balls on the platter for him in very similar positions to where Grealish was, that he's not scoring them. It's just a confidence thing. I don't know why, but he's not as confident as he was when he first came to Villa. And once he gets that I guess he's pretty like getting better now, but once he gets that full confidence back, he will score these chances. Look at that hat-trick against Liverpool 2 years ago. He scored very similar goals that he missed the other day. It's just
Yeah, he seems to like go for power when maybe placement's the best option, and go for placement when power's the best option.
Like the offside goal, it was offside. What a finish that was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Perfect. But for some reason, just sometimes he tries to chip the keeper when it's not necessary, or tries to go under his legs when it's not necessary. It's just he'll get it right because I really want him to succeed at Villa. And to be fair, he's done pretty well already. He's got like almost 30 Premier League goals for us in 3 seasons, pretty much. So you got to take that.
Yeah, and we are an evolving team. We're work in progress. Let's see what he's like when Emery has his lineup, his way of playing, and like a settled side that can take into the last part of the season, maybe a bit of momentum going into next season. We'll have to wait and see. Please let us know where you think Ollie Watkins fits in the comments. So is he our number 9 for the future, the guy that we should all be pinning our hopes on? Is he someone that maybe should be playing from a wider position? Or is he just not good enough for the Premier League? Is he not a good enough finisher? Let us know, because he has been sort of topic number 1 since the Liverpool game, with his missed chances and with everything that's gone around it. Was there any other surprises from the game for you? I mean, I thought that, Buendia was probably the guy who's probably most disappointed. Like we spoke about before, we've spoke about what a great player he is off the bench for us. Under Gerrard, he wasn't getting very many minutes, and we were calling for it. But we're, going back to what we always speak about with Buendia, when he's given that starting position, he just doesn't seem to want to grab it by both hands.
No, exactly that. And it's such a weird thing to see, because the Spurs off the bench under Gerrard, he was unbelievable. Like, this guy's unbelievable. Get him starting, then he starts and he's not good.
Yeah.
He just kind of jogs around, and he had some patches where he was flashy, he was really good, but then most of the game, I reckon like 90% of the game, he was pretty disappointing. And I would have dragged him up to 60 minutes. I think Coutinho would have been better, or if not, the same as, with fresher legs. I just think he looked a little bit underdone.
Yeah, or even like put Archer on and move Bailey back to Buendia's position, something like that.
Yeah,
could have worked.
I don't know.
It was an unfortunate night for him. I think he'll again hopefully come good, but
he will.
Yeah,
I think Emery rates him. I'm pretty sure Emery rates him as well.
Yeah,
and he wouldn't be starting him if he didn't rate him. Coutinho was, look at his credit in the bank that he's got, but still goes straight for Buendia.
I liked quite a few things from John McGinn in this game. I thought some of his delivery was really good. I thought his work rate was like pretty good. I think maybe a bit more time in this system, he could get even better in that sort of defensive sort of shape side of the game. But I thought he was sort of back to his, bulldog sort of, terrier-like performances. And, it was a bit better. He was definitely cleaner with the ball, wasn't giving the ball away like he was maybe going into the World Cup. And
Yeah.
that I think hopefully that can go further and he can improve even more. But yeah, Olsen, I guess, is the other big thing that we people are talking about. I didn't think it was I didn't think it was his worst game, but he did get a lot of flack on social media. Obviously, he's a step down. That's clear from Emmy. But Martinez won't be here. Well, you're saying now that he is going to
No,
be back for the
I'm pretty
game?
sure he's playing the Tottenham game. I'm pretty sure he was just going to miss the Liverpool one.
Okay.
I think he's back in training. Wednesday UK time, whatever that is. So
right.
I think he'll be back. And
Good.
look, we get used to Martinez. We get used to how good his standards are. And obviously, when you take a drop down, it's never the same. But we know Villa Twitter, they've always got to be a scapegoat somewhere.
Yes.
When we lose, I'm pretty proud of the way the boys played, and I think Olsen's probably okay. Look at the teams he's played against. Besides the Newcastle game, he got subbed on. He's played against United in the Cup. He's played against Man City.
Yeah.
And then, the Newcastle flurry of goals that when we would just look shocking that day anyway. But I think he actually made some good saves. I think he needs to demand his 6-yard box a lot more.
Yeah.
Like that one, the third goal, he could have rushed out and put more pressure on Nunez, and he rushed out a little bit too late.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weak hand.
Yeah.
If you're going to palm that, get it out of the danger area. But look, as a number 2, he's not the worst. And no. I think, if he has to step in again later in the season, I'm not too worried about him. I don't think, but I do think maybe like Jed Steer or these kind of guys should be kind of pushing him.
I think so. Or Jed Steer should be. Now he's back from his Achilles injury. I think he's officially back in training now. But again, Jed Steer or Olsen, I think Olsen's better than Steer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's
you would hope so.
If people want Steer in over Olsen, I think they're pretty silly in my opinion. He's still an international goalkeeper, plays for Sweden. So I mean, People be people. People want a scapegoat. They'll blame the goalkeeper. They'll blame Mings. They'll blame Watkins.
It's Villa, mate. There's always a scapegoat.
Yeah,
always.
No, exactly that. But you know what? Positives. That's all I'm going to say. There were heaps of positives in that game.
Yeah.
And as I said, I didn't think we would win, but I look for the positives, and there's definitely plenty to pick up on there, Scott.
That's it. All right. Well, let's move on to the ladies. They had a defeat to Liverpool. Oh, no, sorry. Arsenal, was it? Yes.
Yeah, 4-1 at Villa Park. So I think Rachel Daly won 2 Player of the Months now in the Women's League. I think Clara Ward as well has won 2 Manager of the Months. They're getting noticed. And Rachel Daly has 8 goals in 9 games or 9 goals in 10 games, whatever it is. They're doing well.
Still having a great season,
Yeah, I think they're on 12 points, and I think they only got like 15 for the last season, maybe. So
that's it.
They're well above the drop. They're not going to go down. I think Leicester are bottom on 0 points or something, or Reading, whoever it is. But I think the crowds are going as well. I think they had about 8K at Villa Park for their game against Arsenal, which is incredible to see. Get around the ladies, watch them. They're on in Australian Optus Sports, so you get to see it a fair bit, which is great. Obviously, Rachel Daly plays left back for England and then plays up front for us, so it's absolutely crazy her versatility.
I know. She is an absolute gun, and good luck to the girls for the rest of the season. They're doing really well. Then we also had the over the World Cup, the sort of the announcement of the well, not the announcement, but they showed like a 3D sort of plan of what Villa Park and the surrounding areas is going to look like. Looks amazing. Looks really, futuristic and sort of, up to date and state of the art. Fantastic little sort of fan zone area around the ground, and
it needs it.
It does. It does.
Like when did you last get to Villa Park, Scotty? Probably a while ago.
Oh yeah, it was 99 for me.
It needs a facelift, like especially the North Stand, which is obviously going. It's an old rust bucket of a stand, and look, it's going to be good. I obviously don't think I'll be able to get to Villa Park until the construction's done, because reducing the capacity by 10,000. Enjoy getting tickets to those games. But I'll tell you what, got to get over there when it's done. Got to get over there when it's finished.
Absolutely, can't wait. And it's just it'll just sort of cement our position as one of the sort of top teams in the country, and one of the sort of clubs that are trying to push for European football, and that's all what we want. And I think this is a good step in that direction. It just shows that the owners they're failure isn't an option.
They're the real deal. They're the real
yeah,
deal.
they're just going to keep pushing, keep improving on and off the pitch until we get to where we want to be, and then push some more. I mean, I think we got some really exciting ideas coming up. The Las Vegas villains and all this
That always
talk.
comes up around here, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It hasn't progressed much, but it always comes up that they're going to get a team. I would
yeah,
love them to get a team in Australia. I imagine that. I'll
that would be
definitely
great.
support those guys. But obviously, A League's a bit of a very bit of bad situation at the moment. The A League,
It's not a good time after
the World Cup, but we go from there.
Melbourne victory, crowd trouble.
Yeah, I was gonna go to the game on Boxing Day. Not allowed, unfortunately. Not a member. I think Melbourne Victory won't allow any fans there.
Really?
On Saturday. Yeah, I think they're all banned or whatever.
Yeah, that whole situation is a big shit show with the having to delete their Twitter account and everything. It's getting
it's not good. Not good. But
not a good sign for Australian football, especially after such a great World Cup from the Socceroos. You'd hope we'd like ride that wave, because as you guys in the UK and over in Europe probably don't know that, well, you probably know that like soccer isn't, or football isn't the number one sport here, but it's also, to get any kind of headlines or media coverage is tough, unless it's something like this with crowd trouble. Then,
all over the front pages.
Oh, they'll go after football. The AFL and the rugby writers just love just absolutely whacking football, and the sort of the culture of crowd trouble and hooliganism and all that sort of stuff.
But they hate they're pretty scared to be number two, like those sports. I'm not sure if you remember. This might not mean anything to anyone watching, but Australia Argentina game was on at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning. The AFL Aussie rules decided to release their round one fixture at 6 a.m. Sunday morning, the day of the game, the same time as the kickoff. Why that day? So such a weird time to announce your round one. But they're afraid of being a number two.
It's all a bit sad and a bit childish, but one thing they don't realize is football will never die, and
exactly.
It will still be here.
It's the world game, Scott.
That's
it. The world game.
So they can, they can be precious in their little, high houses somewhere, and we can just keep on playing and keep doing what we do, and that's trying to be the best version of ourselves we can, and try and promote the game in this country. And I think we've done plenty of good in the promotion through the Socceroos, the Matildas, Sam Kerr, these sort of people. We've really pushed the game in this country. The participation rates are through the roof in terms of kids playing and that sort of thing. And I think
it's great to see.
Yeah, I think the sport is doing well, even though there was that unfortunate incident that the AFL media certainly jumped on. But moving away from that, let's look forward to the Tottenham game. Yes, it's first thing I want to say is the high line has to go for that game, because you do not want Son and Kulusevski running in behind with Kane coming short and picking passes. So someone's going to have to look after Kane when he drops into midfield. Kamara, Luiz, whoever it is, needs to keep an eye on that. We need to not leave too many spaces in behind our fullbacks. And really, I think the way to beat Tottenham is to say, all right, break us down. Sit back, let them have the ball, break us down, and then attack when we win it back. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Emi Martinez hopefully back, fingers crossed. Matty Cash probably back as well, I would say. Let's look forward to that game. What are your predictions for that game? Scoreline?
I'm going to go a scrappy 1-0 Villa win, and I'm going to go a Leon Bailey goal.
All right, I'm going to go a draw. I think this has got a draw written all over it. I think let's say 2-2, and I'm going to say Watkins and Ings off the bench with a goal. Why not?
Yeah, there you go.
And yeah, well, there it is. Our first show back for the second half of the season. Merry Christmas to everyone and happy holidays.
Happy New Year as well.
And Happy New Year. It's only a couple of days away now. So please let us know, how was your World Cup? How did you miss Villa? Did you, do you not like international football and you just want the Villa to be back? And how happy are you for us to be back? What did you think of the game on the weekend? And what are your predictions going to Tottenham and the rest of the season? Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, if this is your first time watching us. And we will be back after the Tottenham game in 2023. So happy New Year to you all, and up the Villa.